here at Ngozi Talk Shows. Find your own voice, lead from within. With me today is Rachel J. Rachel J, what do you think about the topic today? How to overcome emotional pain at the end of a relationship.
I think it's close to my heart because I've been quite recently through this experience myself, and I've had many in my lifetime, and I'm sure listeners have had the same experience, that we've all at some point in time had emotional pain because of a relationship that's come to an end, whether that be romantic or something, a relationship that you have with your work or with a friend, somebody who dies. Anything that comes to an end is painful. So I was thinking about the title, and the one thing that kind of I wanted to stress to people would be that it's not actually something that to actually overcome something, we need to consciously be able to move through it. So it's not like that you do a leapfrog and jump from A, to B, and that you there is no process in the middle. So and sometimes I think that word overcome it, for some people it might be that you're missing something. I'm not going to go through the pain. I just need to go from this has happened and now I'm happy, and that's not possible. We do need to move through those painful things, right?
I know you are going to overcoming this emotional pain for such a long time in your relationship. And if someone watching right now, and actually I went through this similar thing that you went through, but pain is the same. I can't say I know what you're going through because I don't. And for you also, things are better because you are a coach. So you are able to reach when you feel sad and you feel um, your emotions, that your emotions are not. Because if you've been with someone for a very long time, it doesn't matter if you've been with them, but the pain is still the same. Because you've created memory with this person, you visited places with this person, and things, promises have been made. Those promises, when something ends, it feels that something has been stripped away from. So what art could you give someone now? Because I can say you're doing really good. Because there's no way, like since I've been talking to you, there's no way where you have said no, sir, I don't feel too good, or I don't feel this. You're getting on with life. So I have to give you credit for that. So what advice can you give someone who is going through that emotional pain, or something, maybe the relationship is ended and now they feel they have this fear, uh, not they don't know whether they can cope without their spouse. There's this panic, stress, and they feel like there's a betrayal, confusion, the words goes on. So what advice can you give someone who's going through mixed emotions?
Yeah, I think it, for people to understand that they're going through grief, because they've lost something. It's not just the end of that you've lost a partner, but you've also lost your hopes, your dreams. All those commitments that you've shared together have now just, it feels like they've just been taken away. And so we feel this profound disappointment, and that can bring stress. And yeah, it is all wrapped up in grief. And then that just means that people will feel that they're going through this uncharted territory, that they are suddenly faced with a future that they have no idea what it's going to look like. And that's scary. And so I think, that uncertainty we have to try to manage. But for me, I looked at it as it's no different than if I'd broken my ankle or my leg. I would need to go through a recovery period, and I would know that I can expect pain. I can expect that my life is going to be disrupted. And I am uncertain as to whether or not how my leg or my ankle, whatever, would heal. Now, that's no different than going through an end of a relationship. I know that I need to give myself this period of recovery, that I need time. My body would need time to heal. If it was my leg or my ankle, well, okay, my emotional, my mental state, and my spiritual state, all of that needs time to heal. And so I've always, not always, in this particular relationship, the difference between what I did in previous breakdowns of relationships, I've accepted that it's happening first and foremost. I've accepted that, okay, it's not going to be easy, and I've accepted that I need to basically take some time to look after me, and not feel guilty about that. And so whatever I need to be able to move me through this period, I allow without the guilt that I would have put on myself, like in the other times that I've done that. I've given myself permission to feel what I'm feeling. I don't make it wrong or I don't make it right. It's just what it is. I recognize that I'm going to maybe function a little bit less optimal, shall we say, for a period of time, that I might be less productive, in my business, or that I can't take care of the people that I love around me, maybe in the same way that I've always, that I'm used to doing, that I might just need to actually take some of that time back and use it on myself. And also to minimize any of the stressful resources, shall we say, that I have in my life, and just let go of expectations, of myself, that I would call, well, that's what I would normally do. It's like, well, I'm not in a normal situation right now. Things are disrupted. So I would say those would be my first pointers to people, and just say, take the time to heal, to reconnect, and to re-energize yourself. You need this period of time. And acceptance of that is a really big one. And don't do it alone.
Agree with you, Rachel G, when you say it feels like dream is lost, and it feels like, and you're also giving yourself permission to whatever the feelings you are feeling, and you're giving yourself permission to be able to recognize that, yes, it's ended. And where do I go from? Giving yourself that freedom, and you're not also allowing yourself to move on and not ignoring it. Some people, they themselves at work, and some people will just ignore the problems like it doesn't exist, or bring too much, or take it, or some people will just uh, get obsessed with something, overdo things, like I'm running, start or doing things, like getting obsessed with it. And it is important that people understand it is normal when you're going through problems, or it could be, overcoming emotional ended relationship. It could be death. I've seen, and I'm never gonna see again. I was talking to this guy yesterday in church, and he was like, okay, I understand when he preaches, says when somebody dies, they don't die, their body stays on earth and their spirit leaves. And he was like, but I'm never gonna see my mom. I said to him, yes, you're gonna see her, but at the end of the day, you have to, it's your beliefs to be true. The spirit it doesn't. If your mom goes to heaven and you want to communicate with God, you can communicate with God, and you receive that freedom about her death. But if you hold on to something that is no longer there, that is creating something else. So I was And I was like, also, you need to allow yourself to grieve. Don't come yourself and start saying this. It's important for people when they're grieving to actually grieve properly. Sometimes I scream for myself. If I want to cry, I know it is okay for me to cry, but in some cultures, crying it shows weakness. That's what they believe. Why that means you're weak, but you are not. Because if you don't cry and you want to cry, but you hold on and like you want stronger for who? Tell me, who do you want to be stronger for? And also when you're saying get some advice or get some help as well, I think it's important as well for those who are watching. When you are going through something and overcome whatever pain that is, it's not a magic pill.
No.
The pain is real, and if we're away, you're gonna need some help because we're human beings. You're gonna need some help for somebody to help you to overcome that pain of losing someone. Like you have a family, you create a family. For me, when I was going through an ending relationship, dreams, I thought, okay, I spent my life trying to find this man, and I spend time trying to be to keep him happy, keep him things didn't work. And then I spent time being a mom, spending time becoming a mom and trying to make sure that my daughter, she was having a good life with her parents. And now all those memories and the dreams, I felt that was being stripped, just watched my life. I was like, it's on. That's how I felt at the time. I remember going to the doctors. I'm doctors and they're like, is it an emergency? I'm like, yeah, it is an emergency. And then I walk in, I goes, no, miss, what's wrong? Because I felt like somebody hit me in the head. And it was like, I was like, I don't know. I'm confused. And it was, what happened?
Yeah.
Tell me the story. I was like, it should end it. It was like, okay, sit down. I was like, okay, so you need therapy. So do that, you need therapy. I was like, yes, I do need therapy. And everything went really, really quickly because to therapy, really, I just went because my head, you know, I was confused. And when he suggested therapy, I was like, yeah, okay. So, and just going through things, mending my broken heart and going through that process and finding that breakthrough after. I think if now somebody can come and say, do you bring that relationship? No, actually, I don't. Because
Yeah.
there's so many things that are good memories. And I'm sure you yourself in that relationship, when you look back, you've grown. There's been growth in that relationship with your mindset and with your raising your son and watching your spouse as well. Is we're all different. Accept that people grow. And so, what was would you um, who feels that is the end of everything now? Life is ended. They feel that splitting up with someone, hope, nothing.
Yeah, I think it's important for them to recognize that um, when we go through grief, we will feel a variation of feelings, very different ones, and it's perfectly normal and it's healthy for you to have these feelings, whether it's sad, angry, frustrated, confused, like you mentioned, anxious. They're all allowed to be there. They're all allowed to show up, and they can feel quite intense. Um, but it's telling yourself that it's not going to be like this forever. This is just a process that you need to move through. And that's why I say it's not about overcoming, it's about consciously moving through. That's how you deal with this process. And it's, grief is something that needs time, and it has really its own agenda. It's like it follows its own schedule. And for everybody, that is different. It doesn't look the same. Grief doesn't show up and is the same for everybody. We have a unique experience to it. And really, it is that pain of grief that is exactly what is going to help you to get to be able to let go of that old relationship, and for you to be able to move on. If you try to deny the grief or push the grief away, or not to consciously deal with that, you're only going to not suspend. You're only going to extend your suffering, because you're not in a place of allowance and just accepting that this is what's happening to you. You're now in resistance, and you're trying to fight it because you want to stay with what was, but the what was is not there anymore. So that's that tug of war that then we start to have with ourselves. So grief is truly there to help us to move through that process. But yeah, it's uncomfortable and it's not really nice, but it is what it is. So yeah, I think that it's about making time each and every day to nurture yourself. It's really important. If we ignore our health, if we ignore our well-being, and we just continue to do what we think being strong is, and well, I just got to carry on, and I'm just going to move, I'm just going to plow my way through this as if like nothing has changed, then we're actually going to have more of a difficult experience. It's going to feel heavier. It's going to feel worse. It's not going to make things better at all. So we need to eat well. We need to consciously look at what are we eating, instead of turning for the quick snacks, the quick food, the processed food, all the stuff that's just going to really clog up our system and make us feel even more heavy and more lethargic and more like, oh, I just don't want to get out of bed. What's the point? Life is just, shit. It's not going to help. So, like they say, what you put in your system, you are what you eat. It's really important during this time to eat more healthily. If you tend to maybe not eat particularly healthy, this is a good moment to start to change the relationship that you have with yourself then. It's spending time outside. I make sure that I do my best, certainly if it's not raining here in the Netherlands, but I do my best to get out and have a walk and get into nature and just have that time away from all the stuff that can distract me in my life and make me go down into old thinking patterns that can come up and get me stuck because I just ruminate, So that's taking care of myself through self-care activities and looking at, well, what if things have worked in the past? What strategies have I done that I know that helped me through a difficult period in my time? Start applying them now again into your life, if maybe that's not something that you have been doing before the relationship breakup. And exercise is something else I've personally incorporated more into my routine. So the reason I think that I'm dealing better with this relationship breakup than I have with any of the other ones is because I have a higher self-awareness. I've done a lot of work on myself, so I'm feeling a lot more balanced and connected with who I am, and I know that I'm worth looking after because I have a life and I'm here and I'm a good person and I've got, I've been granted a life. So I've got to, this is a sad part of it, but I'm gonna, I have faith and belief that, something more beautiful is going to, be in my future, rather than look at it like, oh, well, it's only going to be not a great future. It's not going to be what I had intended, but what I had intended and what might come, why would it be worse? why can't it be better? So I think it's the way, the lens in which we choose to look through. And again, all those things that we do as self care activities are helping us to have that healthy mind, so that we can look through the lens that gives us optimism, rather than being pessimistic and thinking worst case scenarios, and that you're going to be alone for the rest of your life, and that nobody cares, and all those negative stories that we will tell ourselves, which are usually, in most cases, completely untrue.
So we always have these stories that we tell ourselves in our mind that we are not enough. I like it when you actually declare that you've been granted a life. That is the most important thing anyone can ever go for. Because if you see yourself as somebody who's granted a life, it means that you are telling those emotions that I am aware what I am going through it, but I appreciate and I am grateful that I am breathing, and these problems that comes with my breathing, I'm just gonna sail through them, and I'm just gonna um, do whatever it takes for me to break free this pain, and I'm gonna climb the mountain, and I'm gonna look after number one, because there's always number one. Before you can look after somebody else, you gotta make sure that you are 100% okay. So that is very, very, very important when you give yourself permission. I I always listen to different motivational speakers and stuff, and all they all speak different, but everything comes down to I have to look at myself. Self-care is very, very, very important. And I think when you start worrying about what didn't work, why things didn't work out, and that's when your mind start going all over. You just say, okay, you know what? Things have happened the way they've happened. I'm just gonna make sure that I eat healthy, I have enough sleep, good sleep, and just look after myself, and making sure that when I need help, I seek for help, because even though we are coaches, we still need to speak to other coaches as well, and just making sure that you are okay. And I think that is really, really important. And meditating as well. Some people meditate in prayer. Some people have their own system how they meditate. So I think it is very, very important to have something that you believe in, so you can hold on to that beliefs. So I actually agree with you. But when you say granted life, I have nothing to say anymore, because that is really, really powerful, Rachel. That is really, really powerful. When I'm having problems, I I basically go on Google and check how many died today, and I'm living. So I'm like, okay, say, do I to complain? I just have to be grateful that I'm able to live, I'm able to do the things that I want to do. And I think it's very, very important. It might be easy, sounds easier when we are saying it, but when somebody is going through that, it's actually hard. But you have to look at life in a different way. Your mindset has to be in the right place. And also taking different advice. Just have a coach or have someone that you can talk to, because people make mistakes where they listen to this one. When I was going through divorce, listening to people, because I'll talk to somebody, and in a way, whenever you're talking with something, there's something like an agenda. You have an outcome that you want. Like sometimes you speak to someone, agenda is for them to listen and not to give some advice. But when used to other people, and they're like, oh, make sure to take everything, like divorce wishes. I'm like, is that what the relationship? So I'm like, I just want you to not to give me those advice for money, taking people's money and things. And I stopped talking, and I just decided, you know what? I'm just gonna talk to my coach, to a therapist, with whatever is in my heart. I'm gonna talk to a therapist and stop talking to people, because they were like giving me advice, you can have this, you can have this. I'm like, but we fell in love, and we had dreams together, but it didn't work. Things didn't work. It's not his fault. All I want to be free. No, to go to court, I'm entitled for this. I just want to be free. And those were the things that for me that I had to do. I lot and realize that I'm not entitled of anything. All I'm entitled of is for me to work on myself, and the rest, it had to happen. The energy, it had to happen on its own. And the only person that gave me advice when I was going through something was my mother-in-law. She was like, whatever you decide to do, we can do it, but know that the children are the ones that pays the price in the end. So anyone that is watching right now have children, and for me as an advice, I'll say leave them out of it, because people intend to involve children when they're going through something. Is nice to let children themselves and not to get involved in the pain and whatever going through. And we're tough, we're creatures. And advice can you give someone right now, Rachel, who is really angry? I know some people, when they're going through divorce, they get really angry. Why? It becomes like one-sided. Like, why did she have to do this? Why did he have to do this? So what advice can you give someone who is angry and blaming the other person?
Yeah, I mean, when we get stuck in those feelings of blame and anger and resentment, really what they're doing is just robbing you of your valuable energy, because you're just completely focused on the other person, and then that is actually preventing you from being able to heal and to be able to move forward. So I think it's really important to keep reminding yourself that no matter what, you still have a future, and it's more than likely going to be a different future than what you had planned. But nearly always, when you look back on your life, most of the times when you've had these big disruptions in life and you thought it was the end of the world, when you look back, it was probably actually the start of a new world for you, and it was a better experience than what you had initially thought. So keep reminding yourself about that. Remember that the whilst you're in this, if you can turn inward and look after yourself and use this period of time as a time out for you to be able to sow new seeds for a new growth in your life, that is going to help to empower you. So it's get yourself into a place where you have that willingness to want to show up for yourself, rather than be focused on what the ex-partner has or didn't do, so that you are able to really emerge from that experience that you're going through, knowing yourself so much better, being able to feel stronger and wiser and more confident as an individual. And so when you can take all of that, take all of those, the learning that this is a time for you, it's about a time out period, it's about reminding yourself that your future doesn't have to be this black, dark thing that you might be projecting out there. It can actually be a bright, sunny, beautiful horizon that you're walking into. You just can't see it yet. That's really going to help you to fully accept that a breakup to be able to that this breakup has happened and that you can move on. And to be able to do that, it is important to actually understand what happened and acknowledge your part in it. That's another thing with me, is I've been very, like, a relationship is 100%, of which 50% is split half and half. But out of that 50%, I'm 100% responsible for my part in that relationship. It's not ever one-sided. It's never one person's fault. Even if it was that somebody has cheated on you, you have contributed in some shape or form to that individual having the need to want to go and leave the relationship. Maybe you didn't do anything wrong, but you keep choosing those people that you know are going to hurt you in that way, that are going to cheat on you. So what is it within you that you are not acknowledging, but you are denying within yourself, so that you are self-sabotaging and creating these people to come into your life to hurt you, so that you can go, there you go, I told you so, I'm not lovable. Whatever those stories are, if you can take back responsibility and stop blaming, you're going to really, be able to come out of this a better person. So those would be just some of the things I would point out to people. Yeah.
When you say why would we still sometimes you have to look at yourself and evaluate things. Why do you keep attracting these same people that cheat, or people that don't treat you well? Or for me, I think it comes down to when we select our spouse. Sometimes when you select someone, deep down we know that this relationship is not about. We choose them anyway because they are so kind. But there are some people that when we meet, we are not meant to date them. We meet them, they are really kind, nice. There's a purpose why they are there, and some people actually choose that. Oh, you know what? I've not been treated like this. This guy is so nice. It's women. When they've never ever been treated by someone who is kind, when they meet a guy, God will connect you with someone, and that have a purpose of connecting with you. And instead of us focusing on that purpose, we focus on love. We're like, oh, he's so nice. No one is treated me less. And then we forget all these things that we say. This is what we want. This is what we desire in our relation. We get blinded by what we think is love. A few years later down the line, you find that it's not what we want. So I've been to when I was going through, like, there's a guy that I met, and this guy, he was really really nice guy, but I knew when he's not the guy that I've meant to meet, because when I met him, it was like he started saying, "Oh, have you ever?" I was asking him questions and stuff, and after that, it's so nice, and it was, "Have you ever go to matchmaking?" And he sort of started helping me that way. But if it was before, I'll be like, he's very, very kind and I'm going to date this person. But we didn't date. I really had an assignment that he did in my life. Just by he came back the following time with all the information, rules, and regulations for matchmaking. It printed in a big file for us, like, you'll be good becoming a matchmaker. The questions that you were asking me and your behavior, here's the business. You have to decide. And so I think sometimes there are people that we meet, and also when you are in a relationship and a person's job is done, that's when you find, like, maybe with your ex, that there was something in assignment that you had to help, or he had to help you with something. And when that was done, you start recognizing the mistakes that I'm growing, but this person is growing. Are we able be really connected and stuff, but then you'll find his assignment is done, and your assignment maybe to be with him is done now. You have to, and that's when you were saying in the learning, that's when you have to look back what you learned in that relationship. Some people they don't learn, you will split up with some and go and date someone who looks exactly like their ex or behaves like their ex. The list goes on. There was this guy. Uh, I think they sent the profile of this guy few months last month actually. He when I spoke to one of matchmakers, he was like he's describing the love that he's looking for. He's not really looking for love. It's like he's looking to remain. So he needs therapy. He was actually looking for somebody who is ex. So I was like, you can't be looking at somebody who looks like your ex. So that means it's over that relationship. So it's very, very important that when you date someone things and you break away from that pain, like give yourself time to heal. Healing process is very, very important. So if I want to be right now, the healing process, what advice do you give me? I'm asking these questions because I think the audience are fed up already. My story of the relationship that didn't work. I'd like to hear about your story. So, how do someone begin with their healing? And when they woke up in the morning and they don't feel like it, how do they go on continue with that process?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said quite a few things that are already helpful with what that is, and it's it is a mindset to a certain extent. Are you going to choose to be somebody who's going to survive this, or are you going to choose to be a victim of what's happened? So firstly make a choice. Make a choice. What am I? What story am I going to create from this? Am I going to rise out of it as the person who survived and will look back and see how it helped me to grow, or am I going to see this as I'm the victim here and I'm going to sit in that victimhood, and at some point when I look back I can see that, well, I did nothing to help myself. So what will if you're on that side of the fence at the moment, then I would strongly say then there is a lack of self-worth. There is that you don't think that you're worth fighting for. What you think that is important is to look at the person who's supposedly done you pain, and that you will just continue to keep that pain attracted in and coming into your life, because you're going to be more fixated on them and making them wrong rather than looking and coming up and fighting for yourself. So if you feel hopeless, if you feel that on some level you are sitting in victimhood but you don't know how to get out of it, then I would strongly suggest go and seek help. Go and help people like myself, or a therapist, or anybody in the coaching, healing, therapy world who generally care about helping you to get out of this state of victimhood. Because sometimes we do need somebody else to help us to feel that we are worth fighting for, and there's nothing to be ashamed in that. It has been one of the biggest helpful things that have got me through this time, is because I do have a group of coaches that I do have regular contact with. They are, it's a very luxurious position to be in, that I have and can call on 5 coaches that I'm very close to, that will help me at any point in time that I need to get something off my chest. be that I just want you to hear me and hold my space for me. I don't, that's all I need. I don't need anything else further than that right now. Or I need you to help me with this to understand, why am I thinking the way I'm thinking? What is this? What is it trying to tell me? Help somebody else see something that I can't see. So having professional help with people who've been through something very similar, and they've learned it, they've got a strategy, they've got the means, the know-how, of being able to help you, is, why would you turn it down? Why would you not seek that out if you know that it's going to help you to end your suffering and help you to be able to get on a path that is going to lead you to a brighter future, more smoothly and quicker than if you try to just do it on your own. It's very important what you said about people around you who care for you. They've always got the best intentions, first and foremost, but sometimes they will give advice based on what is their experience, the things that have happened to them. Be that it was a negative experience, they'll give you some advice that for them sounds correct, but for you and your situation is maybe not really what you want to hear right then. And so by removing yourself from people who are really close to you, who can come with this helpfulness, but it's actually more about them coming from a place of how they help themselves, which is not your story. It's very different. By going to an independent person, they're looking at you, they've got their attention on you, they only care about helping you to move from A to B. Whereas sometimes our family members, it's a little bit, the lens is a little bit skewed. We're a little bit too close sometimes to help give advice that is purely for the individual who's going through that pain at that time. So it's getting a balance, because I'm a natural person that can go into isolation. I find it very easy to just go off and be on my own and have my own company. But there is a chance that I can be too long on my own, that I can isolate, that I shut myself off from the outside world. And so it's important for people to recognize, am I closing myself off because I don't want the help? But it's getting to the point that they're not reaching out to anybody, because then that can get very lonely, and it will actually just make the situation worse, because you'll start to have more negative thoughts, and you'll start to not be able to get out of your own way. So in those incidences, it is important to keep connection with your family members and whatever. But when you really want to work on yourself and you really want to try to help yourself to get forward and get some momentum moving, then seek some help, and don't let money be the reason why you don't do it. It was one of mine for a long
Thank you
time.
so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I love it when you say, don't let money be the reason why you can't do it. I'm sure you can find therapy. There's even other coaches out there who are giving out sessions for free, so you can't really say, I can't afford it, or this health should come in first. And if anyone watching right now and they want to find you, and what would you like to tell the audience? And some people might be just tuning in and they don't know who you are. Would you like to quickly tell the audience who you are and when they can find you? And also, if you have anything that is coming up, or any courses that you're doing, or workshops with the audience, please.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll
Okay.
love to know.
Yeah. So, well, if they haven't already realized, my name is Rachel G, and I'm a speaker, I'm a teacher, and I'm a self-growth coach. Inner growth really is my passion in life. It became something that was really obvious to me during my own personal self-transformation journey, from self-rejection, self-hate, to self-acceptance and self-love. And that was a real richness of learning for me and healing. And I I just felt this call on a soul level that I wanted to inspire and empower other women really around the world, you know, to experience living authentically from their heart, not so much from their head, and really start to choose a life of love and healing and connection, and then helping them to activate, you know, that innate power that we all have within us, so that, you know, they also can go out there and manifest an abundant, joyful life that they can live, you know. And I love change. If people haven't really already sort of recognized that, and then I have a great gratitude for, you know, how really our pain, and, you know, can help us to heal parts of ourselves that we've denied for a long time, and really up level our lives in unexpected and beautiful ways. And so a lot of my work is based on helping people to have a completely different relationship with themselves, because that's where it all starts in whatever you do in life. You know, if you can show up being the more fullness of who you truly are, then you're going to have a better experience in life, in your relationships, in your careers, in your everyday, you know, experiences that you come across. That, you know, everything is just going to be that little bit better because you within yourself are feeling good. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me at www.rachel-g.com. That's my website. I'm also on Facebook, and it's all under @RachelG all one word. And I'm currently offering a limiting beliefs session. It's called a self-insight session. It's 1 hour free. It's not. It's on Zoom, and you can go to the link in my bio on Instagram or Facebook, and you can basically find it there, the offer, and you can just sign up for free, and I'll take you through something to help you identify maybe what your unlimiting block is that's preventing you from doing whatever it is that you're struggling with in life at the moment. So
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rachel G. I'm sure there's someone who's watching who has so much pain and they don't know how to begin self-healing and self-care. And if you're watching later or you're watching us now, you are thinking, will she be able to help me? Please just get in touch and have a free consultation. You know, it starts with everything you do in life. It starts with the action. So you take that action and communicate with Rachel and find out whether you're a great match, because you have to be able to get along in order to weather. That's what I do with my clients when I do the show call, is for me to see whether will we be to actually work together to help each other, or will I be able to help this person or refer them to somebody else, because we're not meant to help everyone. So important to take action and just get in touch with Rachel and find out what she does. Her work is amazing. And also, when you finish with Rachel, you know what you want, you can come back and find me. So we continue, because you can't find love if you still have this baggage from your past and you're dealing with the past. So you have to healing is important. Knowing, go through healing, and after you break free, then you're like, I know exactly what I want. Or some people want to date in a relationship, but what you don't need when you are coming out from a breakup is declarations of, I will never love like that anymore. I will never love anyone like I loved my ex. That's what people say. Or maybe feeling that I'm too old. It was my last chance for me to date this person. I don't think anyone will want me, or I don't think I will ever recover from this heartbreak that I'm going through. Or is there any man or any women who will ever look at me? Or you don't all those does not need with that. We let God be God. If you are somebody who believes in the universe, be the universe, do the work for you. All you got to do is for you to allow that healing process and seek help. And once you allow the healing processes, seeking help, and once you get the breakthrough, God will decide where you go. You call the shots. Basically, does He helps you based on your desire. He does not interfere. And if someone who believes in the universe will decide to help you based on what you have been through. But you have to allow, give permission to the universe to help you. So everything that we do in life, it starts with us. When we allow the healing process, when we allow the breakthrough, we climb the mountain on the other side, we find place on the other side, and we decide how we're gonna live in that beautiful place, how we're going to create the movie. And the movie, you get to decide, you chose. So that means that's what nurturing everything starts with you. So we decide to stay in that feeling so, and then they stay there forever. But you can break away and be free. Any words of encouragement, Rachel, right now, and who is watching, and they're like, I is amazing. And what would you like to leave the audience with?
Remember that, or allow the relationship that is ending to be the start of a relationship with yourself. So use it to your for your healing. Objectively examine your own choices and your behaviors, that you had within this relationship. Look for the patterns, connect the dots that will help you to make new choices and change any self-sabotaging behaviors that you have been living in your life up until this point, and start to change them into new more empowering behaviors that can take you to a new relationship eventually that will match you in your new confident self. If you do the work, life can only get better. It won't get worse, even though you're in pain right now. It will pass. I can't hear you.
Thank you so much. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rachel. For me, I would say you have a choice to decide when things are not going how they should be. You have a choice to pick up the phone or email and go to talk shows and just book a session with one of our coaches based on what you are going through. We have this from all walks of life, so you can get in touch with me and tell a story and help you and how you want to connect, because everyone has it. When everyone watches gossip talk shows, there's someone that they love, they admire, and they come to listen to the person. So I'll connect you with whoever you want to connect with. And if you feel like I'm not sure whether these people can help me, they are living their challenges in life, experience challenges, and they've worked through those years, and now they are living that life that they, however they want. Everyone at gone through something. Like we all human, we all have gone through something, but we have found that breakthrough through visions and the choices that we have made. So you can go to Hope Springs Talent Agency if you're white, or connect with me on social media. Connect with whoever coach you feel that you want to work with. That you can start taking action, finding your own voice, and leading from feed. Whether you're wanting, you can get in touch with us, and from there, God bless. Live with grace. Speak